Good morning. Good morning. What is going on, everybody? Tuesday, December 2nd. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. 8 a.m. on the dot. Hopefully everybody's enjoying their morning. We got a lot to break down this morning. We got a lot to do this morning. I'm enjoying my cup of coffee. Only a couple of sips in. I got to be honest with everybody. I'm behind right now on my coffee intake. So if you catch me throughout the show getting a sip of coffee, just know, listen, it's a long night last night. Had a post-game show, 7-game winning streak out the door. People bitching and complaining from every direction that I looked at. I need a little coffee this morning. Gonna need a little bit of coffee this morning. Cheers to you, whatever you're drinking on this fine morning. Looking forward to doing the show with everybody. So thank you for being here. Let's kind of give a quick idea, a quick rundown what we're going to be doing for the show. Of course, as always, your comments on the show are very, very, very appreciated and welcome to part of the show, whether we agree with each other or we don't. Feel free to throw any comments that you guys want in there. Let me give everyone a quick rundown what we're going to do for the show this morning, and then we'll get the show started. So Lakers lose last night. We'll get a little bit into the game. I mean, I guess the question is, you want to call it just a bad night, or were there some other kind of glaring concerns? We get a little bit into that. I'm going to give the Suns some credit because the Phoenix Suns, I didn't know. I didn't know the Phoenix Suns had that in their arsenal. I didn't know the Phoenix Suns, having Devin Booker play for 10 minutes. I had no idea that the Phoenix Suns were capable of putting together what they did yesterday. Dillon Brooks, yes, runs his mouth, but yesterday I think had reason to run his mouth. So I'm not as angry at Dillon Brooks as other people were. Quarter mark of the season. So last night was a important milestone for the Lakers and was an important milestone for any team really in the NBA. You just reached the quarter mark. You're 20 games in the season. You're 25% through the season. And I'll give my opinion of what I thought through the first quarter of the season. I got to be honest with everybody. Yes, I know they're coming off a loss yesterday, but 15-5 in the quarter mark. I don't want to hear too many people complaining about 15-5 through the quarter mark. I think that's wildly impressive from the Lakers to be 15-5. So we'll hit on that and just kind of what it means. Is that something that's sustainable? I saw an article. There's a few articles out there. LA Times, are the Lakers contenders? I saw ESPN write an article. So quarter mark of the season, yes, where they're sitting today and then where we think they're going to go. LeBron's night last night. Man, is it just me? Or did LeBron James look 40 years old last night, about to turn 41? What happened last night? LeBron actually looked really, really old last night. We'll hit on LeBron. LeBron was a topic in the post-game show. I'm sure he's going to be a topic, obviously, in this morning show as well. We'll talk a little bit about LeBron. The contenders thing that I mentioned, Lakers schedule coming up is I think it's gonna be a telling schedule. You know, I've mentioned this. I mentioned this yesterday during the morning show. I mentioned about to sneeze here, guys. About to sneeze here. I mentioned during the morning show yesterday. You gotta mute and then you gotta come back. This is a live show, guys. You know what I mean? Not a lot of people can do that. Did I just pull a left back muscle? Should I be out 2 to 4 weeks? I should, but I'm not. I'm right here. All right, a little dramatic there. Lakers schedule. So what they've looked like versus teams over 500, what they've looked like versus teams below 500. I'm not even really trying to take anything away from them, but I do think that does have to be pointed out. And then we could talk a little bit about that schedule that's coming up for the Lakers. I do think is beneficial because you're going to start facing a lot of teams that are above 500, so we'll have a little better of an idea of what the Lakers are. ESPN had an article predicting all-stars. Austin Reaves is on that list. So far in the Western Conference, that obviously is going to be an important piece of this entire thing. So predicting the all-stars. Then I got some NBA news. And the way I will end the show today, I got some complaining to do about I got a couple more things in life and society that I want to share with everybody. NBA or how people act in public. I got a couple of those. You guys liked that last time. Well, I got a couple more. These are not forced, by the way. These are just Whenever they happen in life, I'm going to share them with you. All right, let's look at a couple of the comments here before we get started, and we'll go from there. Let's see what. By the way, people, I'm selling my Rui stock. What about the timing of that? Is that real? How has that timing happened? Just somebody explain to me. I just put out a video yesterday talking about how great Rui was, and then and how great he's been this season. This guy has 0 points yesterday. 0 points. Nice job, Rui. Way to maybe make me look like an idiot. Let's see what we got here. Sleet, you said yesterday, do Lakers just take the loss and move on or really break this down? This is a major loss. Lakers get blown out without Jalen Green and Devin Booker. Okay, we'll come back to this. I will start the show with that comment because we'll be breaking down part of that game. Let me get a couple more comments in here. Look here. Okay, here's a couple more. How much stock should we put into the loss? Okay, we'll get into that. The bad news is time flies. The good news is you're the pilot. Oof. Damn. That's a phenomenal quote right there. All right, let me get a couple more in here. LeBron's demeanor during and after the game is very concerning. He looked checked out. I don't really disagree with that. That was a weird LeBron last night. We'll get into LeBron. We'll break that all down. We'll get into that. Don't worry about that. All right. I'm a Luka stan that found your channel after following Luka from the Mavs. Luka's performance was beyond aggravating. Played like he didn't care or was playing at the park. Playing at the park was probably more, I think, more accurate there. First off, thank you for coming to the channel. I hope you're enjoying some of the content on here. We're live after every Lakers game. We're live Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. So thank you for being here. All right, let's get things started here. Let's get the show started. So Lakers lose last night. And I'm going to go back to a couple of the comments that people had. And if you guys got some supers in here, I'll get to those. Don't worry. Let's start off with this one here. It's a major loss. How concerning is it? I read a couple of these here, right? So here's another one. How much stock should we put on the Lakers getting that loss yesterday? Okay. So I'll give you guys my opinion on yesterday's game. To me, I think sometimes it's really hard to isolate one game. I do. One really good win or one really bad loss. To me, I think the bigger question is, what do the Lakers do after that loss to the Phoenix Suns? Because let me give you an example. If the Lakers come out on Thursday and they play Toronto and they beat the Raptors in Toronto and they win 2 of 3 on this 3-game road trip, I don't think people are going to be too concerned about the Phoenix Suns loss. I think that people are going to say, all right, Lakers had a bad game. Phoenix couldn't miss a shot. Dillon Brooks had one of the nights of his life. Colin Gillespie was phenomenal. They outworked the Lakers. They punched first and the Lakers had no response. If the Lakers lose against Toronto and then lost against Boston and then let's say beat Philadelphia, they went 1-2 on the road trip, then that means they've lost 3 of 4. And 3 out of the 4 games are against teams above 500. And I think then you could start asking the question of, okay, well, maybe that loss against the Phoenix Suns wasn't actually a wake-up call. Maybe it was a wake-up call the other way. Maybe the Lakers have got off to such a good start to the season, but maybe that's not exactly who they are. I thought last night's loss was a bad loss. I don't think the world's going to end. I don't. I mean, I think it happens in the NBA. Yesterday I didn't watch it because the Laker game was going on at the same time, but I was looking at the scores. I'm like, Houston's losing to Utah? How's that possible? Denver's losing to Dallas? How's that possible? Both of those teams lost. Both of those teams in the Western Conference, where obviously some of the upper echelon of the Western Conference lost. If you go look right now, there's 4 teams below the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Lakers, the Rockets, the Denver Nuggets, and the San Antonio Spurs. All 4 of them, if you go look at their win-loss column, all 4 of them got an L in their last game. It happens. You win 7 games in a row, you're going to have some games where you don't look good. Lakers didn't look good yesterday. And there was no part of yesterday's game that I think you could say to yourselves, all right, yeah, but I liked this aspect of it. No, there really wasn't. I actually like this. I look at it often. I'm going to give a shout out here to, let me see if I can find it here real quick. Silver Screen and Roll does a good job of, after every Lakers game, they grade specific individuals plus the coaching staff. Sometimes I like looking at it because it gives me some context. I'm like, all right, yeah, what did they think of this player or that player? They were so brutal against the Lakers. LeBron, F. Rui, F. Ayton, actually, they gave him some credit. Austin Reaves, F. Luka, F. Jake LaRavia, F. It's kind of funny. Jackson Hayes, Gabe Vincent, Dalton Connect, Maxi, everybody got an F. JJ Redick got an F. The only person that did well on their list was DeAndre Ayton. And to be honest with you, I'm not even 100% sure why he did so well. But I just thought it was funny because I think that article was very similar to how a lot of people felt yesterday. They're handing out L's and F's everywhere they can go. L for the loss, F for their grade. And I think it obviously told part of the story of the Lakers. Just look, they came in like a team that had won 7 games in a row. Like they'd won 7 games in a row. That looked like, all we got to do is just show up to work. Devin Booker goes out. So even more so, they in their own mind, they're saying to themselves, yeah, this is an easy victory. They got punched in the mouth and they had no response to it. I give Phoenix a lot of credit. Phoenix, who I was unaware had that kind of game in them, had individual players that can perform like that. I wasn't expecting that at all. Now, I'm not going to overreact to the loss. There's some areas of that loss that I think are very frustrating. Obviously, the turnovers. Luka put a lot of that game on his back, said that the 9 turnovers, you can't win a game with 9 turnovers. He put a lot of that loss on him. And I agree with him. And it wasn't just Luka. Nobody was good, but you can't have one individual performer have 9 turnovers. I don't have to sit here and tell you guys that. I think between Luka and AR, they had 14 turnovers. So, I mean, you guys have enough knowledge of the game of basketball to understand that's not a winning recipe, and the Lakers aren't going to go anywhere. Obviously, if that was the case, night in and night out. I don't want to overreact to the loss because I want to look at this big picture. Big picture, your next 4 games are all against opponents over 500. Let's see how they do. Big picture, they're 15-5 through the first 20 games of the season through the quarter mark. And I think that's a really, really, really good record for reaching 25% through the season. So I think for me last night, I thought it was a little bit of a wake-up call for the Lakers. I mentioned this during the post-game show yesterday. I think it could be a good thing. I think sometimes, you need to be humbled a little bit. Your confidence level is through the roof. You feel like you can't lose a game. You feel like you can just show up to work, and somebody described Luka as if he was playing at a park. Luka, there are times where he's wildly careless with the ball. And he can get away with it. Yesterday, he wasn't able to get away with it. And like I said, I thought Phoenix just punched the Lakers in the jaw, and they had absolutely they just had no response. And every time they tried responding and they'd go on a 4-0 run or a 5-0 run, Phoenix would come back, hit them with 6 in a row. So there was never any momentum. The place at Crypto, at least on TV, it felt like the place was dead. And anytime the crowd tried getting into it, there was just nothing to be too excited about. So I'm going to go back to it. Give Phoenix a lot of credit. They deserved to win yesterday's game. Dillon Brooks, was he talking trash and was he doing a lot of the LeBron flexing and things along those lines? Sure, they did, or he was. Dillon Brooks, honestly, is also a guy that's really never accomplished anything in the NBA from a team perspective. And I'm genuinely not even trying to take a shot at Dillon Brooks, but how many different times has this guy tried to get under the skin of LeBron or try to get under the skin of the Lakers or try to get under the skin of the Warriors? And by the time May 1st rolls around, the guy is sitting there and he's on vacation in Cancun. Like that's kind of been Dillon Brooks. And listen, if you told me tomorrow Dillon Brooks is a Los Angeles Laker, I'm rooting for him like crazy. I'd love to have a player like Dillon Brooks on the Lakers. I think the guy, you got to have players like that to go compete for an NBA championship. Okay, yeah, Dillon Brooks had a really good night. Give the man credit. Give Phoenix credit. They didn't just win a championship yesterday. I thought it was a little bit of a loser mentality towards the end of the game to have Dillon Brooks in the game. I think trying to get his career high with 3 minutes left to go when all the other players are on the bench, I think that kind of looked dumb, but it is what it is. I think there were a lot of people yesterday telling me that Dillon Brooks, that he's a front runner and they don't like his game. I like his game. I thought he was phenomenal. Yes, I thought he looked really good yesterday. But it's a regular season game in December. I mean, let's not crown the champs like they just won something. All right, what do you say? There was a couple quotes I took from yesterday from Dillon Brooks. I love playing the game. They show me a lot of love in here, and I reciprocate it back. I'm a competitive man. I don't really like the smiling and the giggling and all that. So just letting them know that I'm here and I'm still rising. He was good yesterday. Again, I'm going to go back to it. Dillon Brooks on LeBron. He likes people that bow down. I don't bow down, so that either entices him or it aggravates him, either or. All right, so there it is. There's Dillon Brooks last night giving a couple of quotes on the Phoenix Suns win. All right, let's take a look at some of the comments here, and then we'll keep rolling along here. I do want to spend some time. I think it would be – I want to make sure I give the Lakers credit, too, on that quarter mark of the season, and you guys can obviously tell me how you feel. LeBron playing too passive by the time he wanted to be aggressive. He's out of rhythm. 77 taking too many shots and holding the ball too long. One shot for Rui. Nick, I appreciate you chiming in. Yeah, I've watched LeBron so far this year, and there are times where I'm like, oh, I really like that he's a facilitator. And look at LeBron. He can really pick and choose when to be aggressive. There was really no point last night where LeBron was aggressive. Honestly, other than trying to keep his double-digit scoring streak alive. That was it. That was the only time. And I'm going to get into LeBron. I'm going to wait on LeBron a little bit here. But I don't disagree. He was way too passive. And I think with Luka, it's kind of it's a tough one. Because if Luka's hitting his shots and he's not turning the ball over, nobody's going to say Luka passed the ball. I had a couple people yesterday tell me, Al, why is Luka taking so many shots in the first quarter? Why doesn't he get others involved? Last two games, he's got 20 points in the first quarter in each of the last two games. He's got 40 points in the first quarter in the last two games. I guess maybe trying to set the tone. And then the Rui taking one shot. If Rui takes 8 shots, are Lakers winning that game yesterday? Probably not, but that was quite a surprise to see Rui only taking one shot. So, listen, I gave Rui a lot of praise yesterday morning. So what does he come back with? A 0-point performance with 1 rebound. Thanks, Rui. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you very much. Thank you for the super, Nick. Let's get another super in here. Slee. I'd been waiting for this game. I had an inkling that as soon as we played a good game, we'd fold. Only winning games by 10 points was a sign that this would happen. LeBron was also embarrassing. First off, thank you for the super, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you for anybody that's commenting, that's hanging out on the channel, helping us get to 34,000 subscribers. I got love for all you guys, so thank you very much for that. But very kind of you on the 10th spot. Yeah, I didn't know what to expect. If you expected yesterday, I didn't. I didn't. I'll be honest on that one. They've been playing some good ball. Phoenix is 12-9. They've been playing some really good teams. I didn't think Phoenix was going to come and punk the Lakers at crypto. If you'd have told me Lakers lose 2 or 3 on the road trip, it's like, okay, I could see it. They got to travel to Toronto. They got to go to Boston. They're playing 3 games in 4 nights. But this one, yes, it's a second of a back-to-back. You played the Pelicans the night before. LeBron's going to be healthy. I wasn't expecting last night. I really wasn't. And again, I'll go back to what I said a little bit earlier. I don't think it's the end of the world. I don't think the Lakers losing last night's game is a determining factor of what the Lakers are. But I think you're going to start watching some of these games, these next 4 or 5 games, and the question's going to be there. Well, did a lot of the damage that the Lakers were doing, was that just against bad teams? They're 11-1 against teams below 500, and 4-4 against teams that are above 500, was a lot of that damage just happened to be against bad teams. Well, the Lakers can't dictate their schedule. We'll get into the schedule in a little bit. I don't want to do that just yet. LeBron was also embarrassing. I don't remember a time ever seeing LeBron like that. I don't. I don't remember ever seeing a time like that where LeBron looked as bad as he did yesterday. We'll get to LeBron here in just a second. Let me already 20 minutes into the show. I do want to spend a little bit of time before we go any further. I want to talk about the quarter mark. Okay. So I almost feel like there's a quarter mark. Where I go to LeBron's night. Let's go to LeBron's night. I'll come back to the quarter mark of the season. I think a lot of people want to hit on LeBron, so let's hit on that as well, just because it's kind of more of the flow of the show. LeBron last night. I'm gonna go back to what I said, and I think a couple people have put it here. Last night threw me off a little bit with LeBron. I don't remember ever really seeing LeBron look as slow as he did, a little disengaged as well. It was a weird night last night for LeBron. Again, just me observing LeBron last night. I don't remember really seeing a night. 31 minutes of play, 10 points, 3 assists, 3 turnovers, 3 of 10 from the field, 1 of 4 from the 3-point line. And the only time LeBron was really starting to kind of get himself into the game was to try to keep his double-digit streak alive, which, by the way, he did. Got to 10 points. Let me see what he's at now. 1,297 straight games with 10 points or more. He looked really old last night. Just didn't look healthy. And there was a part of me, there was a few different times where LeBron was at the end of a play, and I'm like, something's wrong. Yeah, he doesn't look healthy. Forget his age for a quick second. I thought he didn't look healthy. So I was kind of thrown off a little bit by LeBron's performance last night, especially because I think in some of these other games, he looked a little bit more like he had some juice under his legs. Yes, it takes him some time to get comfortable. Maybe it was just the entire flow of the game. Maybe the Lakers just as a team were really bad. Maybe the Lakers felt at one point, we're probably taking an L in this game, and LeBron, told himself, let me keep some in the tank here. Let me be very strategic. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do over these next couple of games. I'm assuming if LeBron's not playing in back-to-backs and he doesn't play Thursday against Toronto, plays on Friday against Boston, I'm assuming that. I could be completely wrong. But that performance from LeBron yesterday threw me off. I wasn't expecting that. That he just didn't look like himself. And for one of the first times in his entire career, and I've been watching LeBron every single night. This is my 8th year in a row watching LeBron because he's been on the Lakers for 8 years. And we all watched LeBron a lot when he was in Cleveland and Miami just because it's LeBron. But obviously, since I've been covering the team, LeBron's been here. And it's the first time that I'm really actually kind of looked at him yesterday like, are we sure you want to sub LeBron out? Is LeBron fine? Is LeBron healthy? And like I said, the only point of the game yesterday where LeBron looked really kind of into the game and active, he's trying to keep his scoring streak alive, which I think annoyed a lot of people yesterday too, but is what it is. LeBron is, I've already talked about this. The record to me, those don't mean anything anymore. I think LeBron has already absolutely established every part of his career that you could possibly establish, other than can he compete for another championship? But that's not going to be on LeBron's back. That's going to be on a lot of these other players' back, plus LeBron, be on the organization if they go out and make a move. But yesterday threw me off on LeBron. I did not think, and I know the day's going to come. I know there's going to be a time where it's like, guys, yeah, that's it. LeBron's body is done. He can't take anymore. Probably should have happened a couple years ago, and it hasn't happened. But I felt like yesterday was one of the first times where LeBron's game really threw me off. That one was not what I was expecting. I thought he'd be fresh after coming back, not playing in the Pelicans game. 31 minutes of play, 10 points. Nobody looked good yesterday, but the alarming one to me was LeBron, because LeBron looked his age. That's it. There's just no other way to put it. LeBron looked his age. All right, let's see some of the comments here that people got on LeBron, and we'll keep things going here. Let's see. Sort of like Kobe at the end. Yeah, I'll say this. The Kobe thing, I think the Kobe thing, it just kind of all happened. He had major injuries, and then you're like, yep, you're not going to get the old Kobe, and those days are over. And then Kobe would have spurts where, it's like, oh, okay, hey, there's Kobe. But that's what happens when you age. You can maybe have it for a few moments of a game. You can't have it for 2 weeks. Maybe there's a little bit of that. So we'll see what happens from here. You definitely didn't watch last year. Did you watch yesterday's game, brother? You're going to try to compare LeBron last season, who was still second team All NBA, and go see what he was trying to do in the postseason for the Lakers to last night's game. You didn't watch last night's game then, because that's not the LeBron that even if LeBron is 60% of what LeBron James is at the peak of his powers last year. Yesterday, LeBron was 10% of the peak of his powers for one night. Now, maybe he comes back against Toronto or against Boston, and that's just completely gone, but I thought that was concerning. Father Time says, I got time today for LeBron. Bron looked like he checked out mentally. He doesn't like his new role. He needs to touch the ball more. He has no rhythm. Well, here's the problem. If hypothetically, let's just say that was the case. As long as the Lakers keep winning, nothing's going to change. As long as Luka's playing like a top 3 player in the NBA, nothing's going to change. As long as Austin Reaves is playing like an all-star, nothing's going to change. But Bron can definitely pick his spots of when he wants to be more aggressive. Definitely can pick his spots of when he wants to be more aggressive. I don't know if it's more about checking out or if there was just his body. I got no idea, but that was not, obviously the LeBron James that we're accustomed to seeing in the past. All right, let me take a look at some more of the comments. Last season, LeBron literally had a 7-game shape. Like when he returned, he was pure ass. I couldn't have watched. All right. LeBron can drop 40 on Thursday, and you're going to not give him any credit. LeBron was great last season. This season, been kind of sluggish so far. Yeah, I'm going to go back to what was the game? There was a game that the Lakers, or what somebody had this a couple of days ago. Somebody said something to the effect of, what did they say? Something to the effect of, technically, LeBron's not even through a full preseason yet, right? I think yesterday might have been his 5th or 6th game, maybe his 6th game, I want to say, just trying to guess off the top of my head. You play 6 preseason games, so technically LeBron is not even through a full preseason. Okay, let's take a look at a couple more comments here. I ain't worried about no LeBron James. Okay. I hope we're both sitting here in one of these post-game shows coming up here pretty soon, and we're talking about, hey, if you were worried about LeBron, look what LeBron did. And most likely what's going to happen is LeBron will have really good games again or really good productive games rather than there's just this streak of LeBron having really bad games. I think it's more likely that obviously he starts performing again. Okay, let me get one more comment in here. It's the same thing every year. It's only LeBron's 5th game since April, and they're overreacting to everything just like last year. I don't know, brother. I'm gonna go back to just me watching LeBron over the years. Last night looked a little bit different for LeBron, and we'll see if that just had something to do with just a bad night, whatever the case was. But it felt a little bit different for me. And if that's not, I mean, listen, there are obviously a lot of comments here. I pointed out this one. LeBron was also embarrassing. There was another one here on LeBron. LeBron too passive. Just didn't look like the LeBron that I think we're all accustomed to. So we'll leave it at that. The world's not going to end. Lakers lose to the Suns. Like I just said about the LeBron piece as well, the world's not going to end. But that to me was more concerning than the Lakers losing is LeBron didn't look like LeBron James. All right, quick shout out here. Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. I want to spend a quick second giving a specific example here. One of the things I like doing when I'm talking about Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm, I like giving examples of times where he's in trial insurance companies are trying to give the lowest amount possible to his clients, and then he steps in and says, yeah, that's not going to happen. About a couple months ago, an auto insurance company made a $1.25 million offer to one of Brad's clients whose case was going to trial in Palm Springs. It's always funny. Every time he's got a case, he basically goes into a war room for a week because he knows he's got to fight for his clients. That's exactly what he does. After Brad Wallace selected the jury and delivered his opening statement, the insurance company decided to pay Brad's full $2 million demand before the first witness was called to the stand. That's how you execute. That's how you win. That's what Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm does. If you are a family member, is in a serious injury, a wrongful death case, please do me a favor. Go to the website, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Go to that website and get a free consultation. He'll be able to point you in the right direction. I'm sure be able to help you as well. So, Brad, thank you to Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. All right, where are we at here? Quarter mark of the season. 25% through the season. I'm going to ask, for those that are on the chat right now, if you're watching this live, I appreciate it. If you end up watching this a little bit later, awesome. I appreciate all the views that come on the channel and come on the videos. If you're now downloading this on the iHeartRadio podcast, welcome. The audio version as well. So thank you very much. I'll do my best to keep in mind that there's people that just listen from a podcast form. If you're here watching, you're watching live. Quarter mark of the season. What do you think? We are now 25% through the NBA, through the Lakers season, and the Lakers are sitting at 15-5. Tell me some of the things you like. Tell me some of the things you were disappointed with. Tell me some of the things that you got, positivity towards the future, some negativity towards the future. However you want to, lay it down. We are 25% through the season. What are your initial thoughts of what the Lakers have done so far? I'll give you guys mine. And I listed out here just a number of things that I can say about the quarter mark of the season. First off, 15-5, 20 games through the season. That's a phenomenal start to the season. And I think there were question marks about the Lakers, and I think there were question marks of where they are in the Western Conference. They're second in the West. So whether they hold on to this or not, whether all I could do is kind of just assess, well, where are we right now? And if you're 20 games in and you're trying to assess who the Lakers are through the first 20 games, here's what I can tell you. Luka is a top 3 player in the league, and he's MVP caliber. And a little bit later, I'm going to walk through some of that, the Kia MVP ladder they do on NBA.com. And they got Luka at number 3. They got Shea at number 2. They got Jokic at number 1. I know through the first 20 games, Luka's as good as any player in the NBA, and he could single-handedly carry the Lakers to make some noise. He's done that with Dallas. I understand Dallas had, a certain amount of talent. Lakers got a certain amount of talent as well, so we'll see what the Lakers are able to do. But through the first 20 games of the season, I know that Luka can win any game for the Lakers any night. 15-5, a lot of that has to do with Luka's success. Here's what else I know through the first quarter mark of the season. Reaves is an all-star. I mean, he's playing as good as most of these players in the Western Conference. And he's proved so far this season that he can drop 30 points on any given night. He can facilitate on any given night. His stock continues to rise around the NBA. Reaves has been great. Ayton is better than I expected through the first quarter mark of the season. I think there were a lot of question marks about Ayton and what he'd be able to bring to the Lakers and how much can you depend on him and rely on him. I haven't had any issue with Ayton, and there haven't been too many nights where I do a post-game show and I'm complaining about Ayton, or there hasn't been too many mornings where we come on here. There have been, but there just hasn't been a lot of them. I thought after the Thunder game, we complained about Ayton. There's a couple of games I could complain about. Yesterday, did I really feel his presence? Not a ton. But I think for the most part, Ayton has done a good job this year. I think Rui's been really good. I mean, watch out complimenting Rui, because the moment you do it, he's going to drop a 0 burger and not have any points in the game like he did yesterday. But I think Rui's been really good. Lakers have won a lot of these close games. Redick is clearly a good coach in the NBA. Does he have something to prove once you get to the postseason? Sure. But I think through the first quarter mark of the season, to have your record be 15-5, to have a player who's top 3 in the NBA, to have another player that's all-star caliber, to have a big man that's contributing, to have role players that you feel like can hang with the Lakers, and to have a head coach that I really do feel is an elite coach in the end. Maybe elite is a little too aggressive. We got to see what he does in the playoffs, but JJ Redick clearly knows what he's doing. I don't think you could have asked for a better start. That's with the loss yesterday. That's with, some other question marks that the Lakers have. But 15-5 through 20, I find it very, very difficult to complain about the Lakers through the first 20 games of the season. I really do. Now, are there some question marks? Yes. Marcus Smart and his health is a question mark. What LeBron is going to be able to give the Lakers through an 82-game schedule is a question mark. The bench is a concern for the Lakers. I think the bench is clearly, Jake LaRavia, Dalton Connect, Gabe Vincent. There's a lot of guys you cannot depend on that bench. I think that's a concern. I think the Lakers' lack of defense and three-point shooting is a concern. So I'm not telling you they're perfect, but what I'm telling you is on paper, 15-5, I got a difficult time complaining about the Lakers and their start on the 15-5 season. Okay, let's a lot of people are chiming in on this. And like I asked everybody to do, if you guys can let me know what you guys think of how the Lakers have done and how they've performed through the first quarter mark. Better be some compliments in here. Okay, Reaves is amazing. Lakers get an A based on expectations, though they would be around the 4 to 5 seed. 2 seed right now. So, yes. Technically, do I think the Lakers are going to keep this? They're going to stay at this mark the whole season? Of course not. Of course not. Are the Lakers going to, they'll be 15-5 after every quarter mark of the season? No, they're not winning 60 games. That ain't going to happen. But they'll probably be in that 50 to 55 game range, somewhere around there. 15-5 is good. Long season. 15-5 so far. We're going to be all right. Happy we're beating the teams we're supposed to beat, but would like to see us beat some playoff teams. That's a phenomenal comment right there. Let me kind of mix in. I'm going to mix in the quarter mark with the Lakers schedule. Here are the Lakers so far versus teams above 500. They're 4-4. And versus teams below 500, they're 11-1. Listen, beating the teams below 500 is very, very important as well. I think just what people like to look at is, hey, how did you do against some of the stiff competition out there? If I had to guess off the top of my head, if I had to tell everybody the best wins that the Lakers have had this season, I'll tell you, and I'm going to try this off the top of my head. The early win against Minnesota, I thought was a good win. The second win against Minnesota was good too because they were missing some players. Lakers had some wins early on that might not have been against good teams, but I thought showed a lot of character because Luka wasn't playing, or AR wasn't playing, or Luka, AR, and LeBron weren't playing. They were missing some of their stars. I thought the win against San Antonio and Wemby was good. I thought the win on the road against the Bucks was a good win. Those are probably the games that stand out to me that were some of the more impressive wins that the Lakers had. They had a win against Portland I think that was a game without AR, without Luka, and without LeBron. So some of their games you can't really apply because they've also played bad teams without their star players and still found ways to win. I give them credit for that. That's as good to me as a win against a team above 500. All right, let's see some more here. But I do agree. I think there is a little bit of well, what are they going to look like when they start facing teams above 500 on a more consistent basis? And I think that's a fair question to ask. Good record, but this team is trash. Really? That's the analysis. 15-5, and the team is trash. All right, let's see what else we got here. Let's see. This one there might be a lot of truth in this one. Glass Swords, no real threat, and feels like making round 2 of the playoffs is their ceiling without a trade. I don't completely disagree with that. You win a first-round matchup against Minnesota, Phoenix, just naming a couple teams if, depending on where you are in the standings. And then the second round, you got to go up against Denver, Houston, or OKC. You're probably not going to be favored with this team as is. All right, let's get a couple more in here. Love the offense, but hate that we don't have a defensive stopper outside of Smart. And Smart can't be healthy. And to be honest with you, I don't know how much you could depend on Marcus Smart. I think that was our biggest question with Marcus Smart is his health. So far, you haven't really been able to depend on him. We also shrink when faced with athletic, physical teams. It's a little bit of that. I don't disagree with that. There's a little bit of that. Phoenix, young and athletic, certainly showed it yesterday. Atlanta, young and athletic. Portland has some young and athletic players. We got one of our losses to Portland. They definitely have players. Or OKC, young and athletic. San Antonio, young and athletic, but they played good against them. All right. This is one pointing out 15-5, 4-4 against teams with winning records. It's also not the Lakers' fault that all of a sudden these teams that we thought would be competing for a playoff spot now are completely trash in the Western Conference. Okay, let's get a couple more in here. Initial thoughts, Lakers will possibly avoid the play-in tournament. Yeah, I think so. I think they'll be okay on that. Well, technically, I mean, look, the Phoenix Suns, who are 13-9 now, I want to say, after that win against the Lakers, they're in that number 7 seed. So it kind of shows you where you could be 4 games over 500 and still be sitting in that play-in tournament. Okay, let me see a couple more here, and then we'll move on to some of these other topics. Austin only plays good against weak teams. All right. Guy's an all-star. Guy's an all-star. Okay. All right. So I think for me, at the end of the day, the best way that I can describe the Lakers through the first quarter mark of the season is as good of a quarter as you could have asked for. They're not perfect. They definitely have flaws. Every team does, probably other than the Oklahoma City Thunder. Every team's got flaws, but you got a better record than Houston. You got a better record than Denver. You're sitting at number 2 in the Western Conference. You're 15-5 overall. Luka is clearly one of the best players in the NBA. I think there's a lot to be excited about what the Lakers were able to do through the first 20 games of the season. So for me, at least the quarter mark is, I think it's a great barometer for the Lakers. I think the Lakers were phenomenal through the first 20 games of the season. Again, not perfect, but they can't dictate who they go up against. And going 4-4 against teams that are above 500, let's say they went 6-2 against teams that are above 500. Should the Lakers really be 17-3 at this point? I don't think so. They're not that good. 15-5 seems like they played above their schedule, played above their expectations. So I'm not going to complain too much about the Lakers through the first 25 game or the first 20 games of the season. Okay, let's keep moving here. Got a couple other topics I want to hit on here, and we still got NBA news, and then I also want to bitch and complain about society. I got 2 things that I'm going to complain about. One at the gym, another one. I went to get some running shoes at the store, and I'm confused what goes through people's mind. I'm very confused. What goes through people's mind. I get that you're getting running shoes. You don't have to run the 40 like you're timed in the NFL Combine when you're at the store. Okay? I'll give you the details later. I'll come back with the details. What's this guy doing? Just grab the shoes. You're fine. You're not in the Olympics. Okay? You're not running an Olympic trial, the 200 meter. I don't even know. Is it 200 meter? I'm not good at those. Okay. Let me jump into another thing. Their LA Times had an article this morning. I'm going to read you guys the headline. Guy was sprinting in a store, sprinting. The Lakers are second in the West after 20 games, but are they really contenders? We've been having this conversation a little bit. we've been having this conversation in regards to contenders, not contenders, go make a trade, don't go make a trade. I thought this article was really, really good. Really, really good. Lakers are second in the West after 20 games, but are they really contenders? I'm going to read a piece of this. Besides getting to go to Toronto for the first, or no, get back into this. Lakers 15-5, second in the Western Conference. How real are the Lakers? And it goes into kind of the same things that we've talked about. Some of the areas the Lakers have performed well in. Some of the games that the Lakers have lost, 4-4 against teams with winning records, getting steamrolled by the Oklahoma City Thunder, how much the Lakers lost by. And then also talking about how this week is a great test for the Lakers. The week already started. They already failed the first test. This week, the way the week started, Toronto, Boston, Philadelphia, all on the road. DeAndre Ayton said yesterday, Lakers hope to redeem ourselves a little bit after that loss to Phoenix. We're playing against some good teams. I just think those games and those amount of days will really test our stamina and our mental stamina as well. Okay. Here's my, I think that just to go off the topic, the Lakers are second in the West after 20 years, but are they really contenders? What's your definition of a contender? Because if I'm looking at a defender, or if I'm looking at a contender, what I would say to you is, do you have a chance of getting to the Western Conference Finals? So let me ask this question. If we're describing, are the Lakers a contender in the West? I'm not saying you're going to win a championship, and I'm not saying you're getting to the NBA Finals. But here's the way I would describe a contender. When the dust settles, do you have a chance of being one of the final two teams left in the Western Conference? I think if you got a shot of being in the Western Conference Finals, then I think you're a contender. I think if you have a shot of being one of the final four teams standing, then I think you're a contender. If I just go by that definition, do the Lakers have a chance of beating Denver in a 7-game set? I think they got a chance. Would I consider them the favorite? No, but I would say they have a chance. Do they have a chance of beating the Houston Rockets? I'm not still 100% sure about the Rockets. I'd like to see more from them, see if they end up making any moves to kind of, obviously address Fred VanVleet being out. I would say the Lakers are a fringe contender, kind of on the outside trying to work their way in, or maybe just on the bubble there where you feel like OKC is going to be in the Western Conference Finals. Who's going to join them? I think the Lakers, to be real contenders, they're a move away. They're another piece away. And that's just the reality. I think that's just kind of the position that they're in. I think that based on where they are and where they're sitting and where they could potentially go, I do think that they are a piece away from actually being a contender where you could look at them and say, hey, Lakers and Denver, that's a toss-up. I don't know who wins that series. Lakers and Houston, that's a toss-up. The OKC thing, it's tough for me to compare them to the Oklahoma City Thunder because I do think the Thunder are going to be favorites against anybody in the West and anybody in the NBA. So, good article in the LA Times. Are the Lakers a contender? I think they're kind of on that fringe, but I still think they're going to have to make a move at some point. All right. Slee, 2 players away. I don't know how they're going to get 2 players, but might be right on that. Fringe contenders is what we've been reduced to. No, it's just the reality. See what else we got here. I think Lakers are good. They need a trade and stop getting these old-ass players like Smart and depending on him. Well, the getting Marcus Smart, this is part of the reason why I was saying yesterday, yes, they need to make a move, but they can't lose Rui in a move. They just don't have enough depth. There's nobody on that bench you could depend on. And even if you like Marcus Smart, which I like Marcus Smart, and I also like how the Lakers got him. They got him in the buyout market. The problem is, I think the issue is, can you depend on Marcus Smart? The last couple of years, Marcus Smart has not been able to, you couldn't depend on him because of health. That's going to be the question with him. Can you depend on him? All right, let's get a couple more in here. Lakers are definitely better than Houston. Denver is a toss-up, and OKC are heavy favorites. Well, I will say this. If they're a toss-up with Denver and you think they're better than Houston, then they are a contender. By the way, you never know what happens. I mean, in the playoffs, guys get injured. This happens. You never know what happens. So I think the biggest thing for me is you got to at least put yourself in a position to just be in the mix. And I think the Lakers are going to be in the mix when the dust settles. Yeah, the question is going to be, are these other teams, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the San Antonio Spurs, are they also, in the mix here? Are those teams better than the Lakers? This might be the most true comment, not contenders until the Lakers get defensive stoppers. That could be a very, very, very accurate comment right there. Let's get another super in here. Thank you for the super, brother. It was a good loss. Shows Rob he has work to do, and we didn't drop in the standings. He had a couple other teams take L's yesterday, too. Didn't drop in the standings. You're right. Houston took an L. San Antonio lost their last game. Denver took an L last night as well. But listen, I think whether they lost that game or not, I think you're already the imprint's already in that Pelinka's going to have to do something. All right, let's get a couple more in here. I do like the comment. I do like this comment. Not a contender until you get some defensive stoppers. All right, let's see what else we have here. You are hung up on being second. It's brother, it's the truth. I mean, they're not better than OKC. And by the way, by the time we get to another court, by the time we get halfway through the season, who knows if they'll still be in the set. If you're 41 games in, and you're still second in the Western Conference, that's incredible. That's incredible. That's going to be tough to do. And the games will get tougher, and teams are going to understand you better, and there'll be less surprises out there, and other teams will try to figure out keying in on Luka or whatever the case is. That's not going to be an easy accomplishment. All right, you guys can keep these comments coming in. And I will look to keep reading them. So you guys feel free to do that. I do want to get into an article real quick, and then I got some NBA news, and then we'll start winding down the show here. So NBA All-Stars, early roster predictions for the East and the West. I want to run through something with you guys real quick, because it's basically going to be a little bit about Austin Reaves and how the Lakers stand on some of their all-star chances, at least players that could be an all-star, and where Reaves is into this entire mix. So I'll come back to more of your comments here in just a second. All right, let me share my screen here real quick. Let's take a look at this together. Sing Kumbaya. Okay, so here's the Eastern Conference. All right. Giannis, Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson, Cade Cunningham having a phenomenal season. Look at Jalen Duren for the Detroit Pistons as well. They were on yesterday. They're playing the Atlanta Hawks, and I had the game on in the background. I like watching both of those teams. And Pistons ended up winning the game. That dude's a stud as well. Some players in the league right now that are just making it happen and are kind of coming out of nowhere. Okay, so you saw that. On the bubble in the Eastern Conference, Bam, Scotty Barnes, Josh Giddey, Brandon Ingram, who the Lakers got coming up on Thursday, Jalen Johnson of Atlanta. Atlanta's got some talented players as well. Evan Mobley, Norman Powell, and Franz Wagner. Norman Powell gets traded from the Clippers. John Collins not doing anything. Bradley Beal not doing anything. He's out with an injury. That's why he's not doing anything. And here's Norman Powell, probably going to make the All-Star team for Miami. Okay, let's look at the West real quick. Steph, Luka, KD, Anthony Edwards, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic, Alperen Şengün, and Victor Wembanyama. No surprises or shocks there. Okay, here's on the bubble. Denny Avdija for the Portland Trailblazers, Devin Booker, James Harden. I don't know how Harden makes an all-star team at 5-15, but all right. Chet Holmgren, Lauri Markkanen, Jamal Murray, Julius Randle, and there's Austin Reaves. So for those who have been kind of questioning and asking the question about Austin Reaves, is he an all-star? Is he not? Some people giving him too much credit. A lot of people probably not giving him enough credit. This early kind of rankings, it's a no question about it. Austin Reaves would be an all-star if the season ended today, or if we got to all-star break right now. But obviously still a lot of basketball left to be played. So we'll see what happens in regards to that. But as of right now, Austin Reaves 100% would be an all-star, and he should. I don't think anybody should be complaining about that. I think Austin Reaves has proven so far this year that he's been phenomenal. All right, we got some NBA stories. Drink a sip of my coffee here. I'm going to go quick in the NBA stories so that I could bitch and complain about a couple of things in society. And then you guys can tell me if you guys face this at all in certain public moments, okay? NBA Cup, by the way, I don't know if you guys have got a chance to see the full schedule, but Lakers are obviously in it. A lot of people complaining about the NBA Cup because of the scheduling, and they're cranking out too many games. Here's the final 8 for the NBA Cup. One game, the quarterfinals in the East will be on December 9th, a Tuesday. Orlando versus Miami, Toronto versus New York. Then the quarterfinals on the other side, December 10th, so a week from tomorrow. OKC and the Phoenix Suns, two teams the Lakers have already lost to, Lakers and the Spurs. They'll host the San Antonio Spurs. Listen, if I'm being completely honest, I don't mind the NBA Cup anymore. I think it's grown on me, but what I really like is the quarterfinals moving forward. There's some scheduling things I don't like. There's some other things that I think the point differential, I'm not crazy about leaving guys in late. But there's your NBA Cup, the final, obviously the final portion of the schedule here. So I don't know if it's grown on people. I don't know if people like it. I don't know if people hate it. I'm okay with it. I'm maybe a little bit more indifferent. I don't mind it as much. Okay, a couple stories around the NBA here real quick. There is, apparently there's half of the NBA, maybe more of the NBA, is panicking. Why are they panicking? I'm going to read something here. Tim McMahon, part of ESPN, he said the league is in a panic about the Thunder owning the Clippers picks these next couple of years. You guys know what's going on here with the Clippers and their kind of free fall here? The 2026 NBA draft class is loaded with, they're saying, some of the best, the strongest NCAA freshman class in the past half decade. The Thunder have a chance to land one of these three elite prospects and lengthen what would become an NBA dynasty in contrast to the Clippers. The Clippers, obviously, when they went out and traded Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to the Oklahoma City Thunder, they started the dynasty. One of the picks that the Clippers gave up ended up being Jalen Williams, the second best player on the Oklahoma City Thunder. And now the concern is they got all these pick swaps from the Los Angeles Clippers and how bad the Clippers are. Everybody, I guess, is fearing that the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to end up with another phenomenal pick. The rich are getting richer, and the Clippers just look dumber and dumber. All right, I mentioned you guys the Kia MVP ladder. Let me give this to you guys here real quick. Nikola Jokic, number one on that list so far. 29.6 points, 12.8 rebounds, 11 assists. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, his numbers are down, but I guess there's a reason for it. 32.5 points, 4.9 rebounds, 6.6 assists. He's number two on the MVP rating. And then Luka's number three, 35 points, 8.8 rebounds, 9.2 assists. Luka's numbers are better than Shai's. Here's I guess what's overall. Shai, there's such bad blowouts that the Thunder have that often by halftime or by the end of the third quarter, they're just taking Shai out of the game. And when your squad's 20-1, maybe that's why he's above Luka Doncic, but his individual numbers are not better than Luka's numbers. But again, I go back to it. A lot of this, I guess, just has to do with the fact that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, their team is just blowing out squads, that there's just no time to play some of these other players. Okay. Let's see what we have here. OKC also has a Utah pick. They got also a Mavs pick at some point as well. They got everybody's picks. What a trade, LOL. Laker fans have always looked at AR as an all-star. Now that he's playing like an all-star, look at him like an MVP. No, he's an all-star. The guy's been phenomenal this year. Okay. We're going to get ready to close out the show. You guys want me to bitch and complain here real quick? I got two things here real quick. I got one for the gym and one at a running store. You want the gym story first or you want the running store? First to 5. Our society, it's breaking down. Our society is done. Gym, running. Gym or running. Whichever one to 5, I'll tell the first story. Society's done. It's over. All right, let's see what we have here. 2-0 gym. 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, 4-2, 4-3. I'm giving you both. It's just which one's coming first. 4-4. Final one here. All right, 4-4. Final one, and I'm gonna tell you guys. Gym. All right, let's go gym. Gym it is. I got a very serious question for everybody here. I'll go gym, and then I'll go to the running story. If you want more Lakers conversation, I'm done. That's it. I got nothing left. Guys, what person in society thinks it's okay to play music on their phone without headphones at the gym? Who in their right mind thinks it's okay to be at the gym, sitting at the free weights on an inclined bench, and says to themselves, oh shit, I forgot my headphones. You know what? I'm just going to play my music on my phone without headphones. What idiot thinks it's okay to be at the gym playing his playlist for everyone at the gym? Number one, you already have the gym that's going to play their own music. That's number one. Number two, everybody for the most part is going to have their headphones. There's a lot of times I go to the gym, I don't even take my phone or my headphones. You know why? I'm like, let me get away from my phone for a little bit. And then we got some dumbass who thinks it's okay to play his music on his phone for everyone to just enjoy whatever his preference is. Someone want to explain that to me? How is that obvious? I mean, how is that possible? How does somebody in their right mind go to the gym and say to themselves, this is okay? I already told you guys about the other stuff, okay? The gym, I need to start doing, I got to do a live broadcast from a gym one of these days. I'm just going to go to an LA Fitness. I'm just going to do a live broadcast. I'm just going to sit there. I'm going to point out I'm going to say, this is what's wrong with our society. I'm going to go through every single person. Then, by the way, you got very polite people at the gym. You got somebody saying, hey, do you mind if I work in with you? Hey, are you waiting for this weight or something? There's a lot of polite people at the gym. There's great people at the gym. But for the love of God, how is it possible that somebody thinks it's okay to play their music as loud as they can on their phone, walking around like it's nothing, up and down the stairs, going from this area to that area? I'm sorry. That one I had to get out. Okay, I got one more thing I'm going to complain about. What I'm going to try to do is every week, I'm going to add up all my complaints. Just put them all on a nice list for everybody. And then once a week, I'll go through all the things that I'm complaining about. Okay, here's the other one here real quick. Here's the other thing. No, it's not okay. It's okay. It's public. What are you talking about? It was probably you that I saw at the gym. It's not okay. Put your freaking headphones on or turn off your damn phone. Nobody wants to hear your music. Okay, here's another one. I go to the running store, okay? I just need some shoes. I need some new shoes. I wear my shoes out. They're dead. They're done. I mean, I basically have nothing left on the soles. I'm basically walking barefoot now, okay? All right, it's time to go get some new shoes. I go to one of those, I don't know if they have them up here in LA. In San Diego, they got a store called Roadrunner Sports. Roadrunner shoes. I asked some of that. Whatever it's called. Maybe they have them here. I don't know. But they're basically just running stores. So obviously you go to some of these places. These are runners. These are runners who are there. These are people that care about the shoes that they're going to be buying. For me, it's like, hey, those look kind of cool. That works for me. So I go to the store. I go Hokas. Somebody's asking me Hokas or Brooks. I go Hokas. By the way, maybe I am this guy now. Maybe I'm going to get off my lawn. I don't mind you getting off my lawn. Just respect my lawn. That's all I'm saying. All right. So I go to this running store. And I'm looking, and there's a guy next to me who's trying on shoes. He's got like 6, 7 different pairs. I'm like, you really need 6, 7 pairs to kind of figure out here? Like, just buy a pair of shoes. You're going to be fine. And then I see something that I've never seen before in my life. Let's say the length of the store is 40 yards. Out of nowhere, I'm like looking at the side of my eye. I'm like, what is this guy doing? Is he okay? If you want to kind of jog in place, you're trying to check out these shoes. You're going to walk around in the shoes for a quick second. I get it. You're buying shoes. These are $100, $150. A little bit of an investment. Let's make sure these shoes feel right. Out of nowhere, I just hear this boom, 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 boom. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? I look to my side. This guy sprinted from one side of the store. Sprinted. I swear on my life, a full sprint. Like a full sprint. NFL Combine, they're timing you. It's a clock and everything. He's sprinting from one side of the store to the other side of the store. And of course, he's on that side. Then he's got to sprint from that side of the store to the other side of the store. I'm looking around. I'm like, has anybody seen this? I'm looking at the employees. I'm like, why is this guy running the 40? What's going on over here? He's got 7 different pairs of shoes that he has. I couldn't take it. I'm like, I'm just going to buy my shoes online. We'll get the hell out of here. Why is this guy actually thought he was in a competition? Like, there was a quick second there. For a second, I'm like, is the employee cheering him on? What do you think? Those are good, right? I don't. So you're allowed to sprint in these stores. You're going to sprint up and down. Is that what you're telling me? You're going to sprint up and down. That's what you're telling me. You know, when I go to a grocery store, you know what I'm going to do next time? I'm going to bring a hibachi and I'm going to start cooking. Why? Because it's a grocery store. I'm going to start barbecuing in aisle 7. Guys, I don't tell you. I mean, listen. We're losing. We're losing our country. Not because of politics, because of the gym and because of the running store. Guys, don't sprint. Somebody do me a favor. I want to hear anybody justify here that the guy should be sprinting. You got kids looking around like, Dad, what's this kid doing over here? I don't tell you guys. That's all I got. I'm done. That's all I have. I've never seen anything like it. I thought he was going to maybe put like, I don't know. He thought he was a warrior. So I don't know what happened. Don't sprint. That's all I got for today. This might have been my favorite part of the show. I think I'm just going to spend more time bitching and complaining. It felt good to get that off my chest. Gotta be honest. I had to wait like a few days because Thanksgiving, everything else. Thank you for sitting through that. I appreciate that. I'm back on tomorrow morning, starting at 8 a.m. Members, we're doing Thursday morning. I have a guest on tomorrow, so I don't want to do a prep show when I have a guest because there's not that much to prep for. So Thursday morning at 7:15, we're going to be doing a members only show. So thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Thank you for taking some of these obnoxious stories of mine, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Appreciate it. Love. See you guys tomorrow morning at 8.